Not sure why it shut off again that time, but it did. Wonder if it's getting to the file limit size or something and then shutting down. Not sure. I'm going to have to raise this tool up considerably. Oh, I'm not going to reach it. I can't reach in there. Not with that on there. Not with my live center on there. And I don't want to go with a dead center. And I don't have an NC live center, which is way smaller than this. I should make myself one. They're not that hard to make. I should make myself a small NC live center. The NC live centers are a lot smaller in diameter. Well, so that ain't gonna work. Well, that's not gonna work. Or as I always tell my wife, that can't be right. Oh, you know what? I could use this tool. Oh, that's got sharp corners. I might have to go with two different tools. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with two different tools. I was thinking about doing it at an angle also. Hang this way out there. Let's see. About there. Just barely catch that screw. See where I'm at. Way below center. There, that's almost perfect. So I'll turn this side and then up to it, and then I'll end up. I do have that at an angle also. That means I have to turn. There's no way that I can get there. I can't get there from here. Unless I trust it to not move on me without a center in there. It should be alright. It's clamping on 200 thou, for crying out loud. Well, we're going to give her a shot. Let's see, probably a couple degrees. Well, this is just for looks anyway. I'm just gonna go with 4 or 5 degrees and then see how it looks, and then go from there. So we're gonna turn it to. Now we're gonna turn it to 5 degrees. That. Tighten that up. And swing this around. And then actually I'm going to take and swing that all the way around so that I don't have to use two tools. It'll be like an angle and an angle. Like that. right. So the wide end is the threaded end, which is that end, which is good. And the narrow end is down there. All right, so we'll go back in here. All right, here we go. I think I'm gonna go to 1,000 RPM though. That's not 1,000. There we go. Crank it in here. Lock the carriage. Stop and see how that's looking as far as thickness around the. Yep, I'm gonna lessen the angle. I'm at 5. I'll try to go half of that, 2.5. There we go. Reason is it's going to get pretty thin down on the out on the end if I continue on. I've got to get this set right. Get there, lock my carriage. Check the camera and see if it's still on. This is going to be the finished path right here. I could have marked the angle on the drawing, but I didn't. I marked the two, I dimensioned the two runouts. That will work. So unlock this. I'm going to hit that with a little bit of emery. Some emery over here. that with a file, trying to radius that a little bit. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to pull it out a little bit more. Hey, wouldn't grip it by much. There we go. Didn't get it very straight, did I? That's good. Nice radius on that. Would have been nice if I'd have put a radius on, but if I'd have put a radius on that, I wouldn't have had, I'd have less to clamp on yet. Looks like a miniature cannon that one of my friends was making a cannon, or a mortar, which is basically a small cannon. Kind of looks like it. I have his web address on my web page off to the side on a thumbs up channel. You might want to go check that out. He's pretty interesting guy, and he does some amazing work on rebuilding machines. I can tell you that. You got a old dual saw that he really did a nice job on. Got a grinder now that he's done a nice job on. He does, like I say, he does some nice work. Former tool and die person also. All right, here we go. Don't want to focus, does it? Let's bolt her up here and see what it looks like. So that's going to go in there like that. Oh, you know what? Ah, I messed up. Darn it. Well, I'll have to figure out and put a washer in there, because that slot has to be orientated 90 degrees or perpendicular to the intake hole. Darn it. How about the other side? You don't suppose I get so lucky, because it doesn't matter which side it goes in. Nope. Either side I'll just have to put a shim. I'll have to shim it. But that's okay. You won't know it. Well, I already told you. But that goes like that. And it goes like this. Cylinder head. That gets a bushing in it down here. So what's next to work on? What do we want to work on next? What do we want to work on next? Probably I'll go ahead and make this bushing in here right away. 1/8 inch ID, press in there. And then I'll work on the piston and the rod. Piston and the rod, that'll go through that bushing. And it goes through that bushing, and then on the end of it gets clamped the slide or the guide that, and the connecting rod gets hooked to that. It goes to the flywheel. So I'll sit down and stamp out some shims. Ain't gonna take much, probably a couple thou shim. But yeah, turning up this bushing is no matter. It's just a matter of grabbing a piece of brass, turn up 1/8 inch ID, 1/4 inch OD, press and part it off, press it in place. So I'm not even gonna bother showing that. And the piston will be the piston will be pressed onto the 1/8 inch I want to call it connecting rod, but it's really not the connecting rod, and because that goes back to the connecting rod here. So I don't know if a piston assembly I'm going to call it, which will be the piston, the 1/8 inch shaft that's going through that bushing with a small brass slide that's going to get clamped to that out here. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to clamp that yet. Well, you know what? I'm just going to put threads on it, I think. Single point threads on the end of it and thread that on. So that's where it's at. That's where I'm going to stop for today. So, and I don't know what it's supposed to be like tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be nice out. So I have some lawn care that I have to do with down at my mother and father-in-law's. And I'm sure they're getting anxious for me to get down there and get it done. So that's probably what I'll be doing tomorrow if it ain't raining. So until then, we're off to a start anyway. Oh, another thing is I need to dig out. Where did I put those? My Whedon extra parts. Oh, I see it sitting over here. Let me move you over to the surface plate here. It's got lots of stuff on it. And what I want to do is get one of the got more stuff in there than I thought. I was probably going to use this stand, which I won't really have to make a flywheel if I use this one. I'm going to use the one that doesn't have a flywheel. I have another one here. Doesn't have a flywheel, doesn't have anything on it. And it's an old Whedon engine stand. So this is going to be on there like that. So I need to figure out where I'm going to put this stand on here, because that's going to both be bolted down. So one of them will have to be on this piece, and one of them will have to be on this piece, silver soldered. And then naturally the boiler goes in there. Put a boiler in there. I don't have any of the fittings or anything on it yet. Yeah, it goes that way. And the line goes down here. Or am I doing this backwards? I need to look at one of my motors. Or one of my steam engines. Oh, that's right. That's correct. And go on there just like that. So I should need to figure that out too. It almost needs to be put up in center line of the hole here. On the center line of that hole. Of the flywheel pinhole. So whatever height that is, that's the height that this is going to have to be setting at. So I'll figure it out. Naturally, where anybody following along is probably not going to have this stand, but that doesn't mean they can't mount it to just a block of wood or a block of steel or whatever and put these on, because I'll tell you when I get done here the height. I'll let you know what that height is, and definitely can make that pretty easy. I should just make the whole thing, but I wanted to use these parts. You know, they're bothering me not being used. I have a couple more boilers here. I have fittings for sight glass. The only part I don't have extra are the super steam heater or whatever you want to call it, and the other two boilers I have, they're kind of kaput, so they need to be fixed. This one here is one that had an electric heating element in it that sat in here. Yeah, anyway, I got to figure out how much shim I got to put in there first, and then once I do that, then I'll figure out. It'll look like kind of like maybe a Hershey's Kiss. That'll either silver solder, or I could actually soft solder that on there even, maybe, and put that in place. So until then, I'll be back. Catch you guys later.